wanted to review Zechariah's visions. Going through them, it's been a while since I've gone through them. So we got chapter 1, first vision, got the rider, and the myrtle trees, and Zechariah's like asking, what are these guys doing? They're patrolling the earth. Time of peace, the earth is settled. Pretty simple at first glance. You're like, well, yeah, Darius first finally brought peace to his kingdom after the death of Cyrus the Great. This little power struggle makes sense. Some of the history is that he was actually around this time was looking to secure Egypt. And of course, have to go through Israel. We got Zechariah there, we got Zerubbabel, the governor. But all these visions are about the temple. It's one thing I've come to, well, it's obvious as you get going. The first one's not so much. Very specific with the myrtle trees. It's making you wonder, right? It's mentioned several times. What's up with myrtle? Hadass is the Hebrew there, and Hadassah, we're thinking, well, that's Esther. It's about 60 to 70 years off from probably when, 60 years to, when she married Artaxerxes or whoever it really was. It's funny that some people think her son would have been Darius II. It's just curious, since we're talking about Darius the First here. Darius II might have been half Jewish. A lot of people think Esther's myth. Bringing it up just because of the myrtle thing. Another thing that came to mind is it's one of the 4 species you wave at Sukkot. Citrons, willow, myrtle. What's the other one? Can't think of it right now. But Sukkot got me thinking about heavenly Jerusalem, right? I think about Sukkot, I think about New Jerusalem coming down, I think about the millennial reign, I think about a beautiful time, a never-ending feast, really. Kind of comes into play later when he says your fasting days, your days of fasting, which are all related to destruction of Jerusalem, destruction of the temple, and the fast of Gedalia, which was further destruction. So that's another picture of myrtle. Myrtle is an evergreen tree. So we could say it's like the tree of life. A lot of other cultures had trees of life. Evergreen trees, they don't die, eternal life is the goal. Christmas, put up an evergreen tree. I don't. Most people do, though. And then I got thinking about this rider. Like, where is he? Okay, where is this? He's in the... Depends on the version. It says he's in the bottom. Bottom. Like, what's the bottom? Some say Glen. So there is a bit of a... Like the Kidron Valley, there's a bit of a glen there, so maybe he's just talking about there. Mount of Olives, and you got where the temple would have been. So maybe there's just that's where the riders are. But let's talk about the angel of the presence. And we know the angel of the presence, he was in the Holy of Holies, right? He was there and show God's presence, right? God, His fullness can't be there, so we had this angel. And we think about the mercy seat of the Ark of the Covenant. I've definitely come to picture it more of as probably looking like a throne. They would carry around an empty throne, right? Instead of having an image, they would carry around a throne. The which actually kind of makes more sense than this kind of like sacred box. What's in the box, you know? Thinking like Indiana Jones kind of stuff. You know, it's kind of raised with, you know, there's a mercy seat. Makes sense for somebody would sit on it. So the angel of the presence, maybe he sat on this Ark of the Covenant. So then you're thinking, well, where is the Ark of the Covenant at this point, right? No one knows. There is a book, I think it's Deuterochronicles, so it would have been written in the Second Temple period. It used to be in the canon, some versions, called Baruch, which talks about pretty much angels knocking the walls down at 586, the destruction, and the earth swallowing the Ark of the Covenant. So in the bottom, or like what we were talking about, is this the Ark of the Covenant? Does it take it down into Sheol, Abraham's bosom, or are these riders maybe on the New Jerusalem in heaven? We're like, well, there's no horses. Like, you know, there are horses of the apocalypse. I don't think they're figurative. I think Jesus comes down on a real white horse, so maybe there are horses in heaven. Maybe your pastors lied to you. There are. So that's kind of where I go with that. You know, these riders are essentially angels that have gone out, right? Like it says, it tells us they're angels. We got this angel of the presence communicating. I think some versions say the angel of the Lord. Which a lot of people think that's a Christophany. I mean, we know Jesus, Yeshua will sit on this throne, this mercy seat. So maybe we'll see the Ark of the Covenant come back. I think there's a heavenly one too, right? There's a heavenly tabernacle. There's a heavenly temple. Whether that's on the New Jerusalem right now, is that Ezekiel's temple that he saw? It's a little complicated, doesn't it? So I think that's kind of what that first vision's about. It's looking to that perfect temple, that perfect high priest. And all these visions have to do with the temple, and I don't really have time to get into the second vision, but I will soon. That's one I've looked at. That's when I feel a little more sturdy on the understanding. Picked up a few new bits of information that helped me with that one. This first vision, I still feel like it stumps me a lot. Kind of just thinking about the heavenly temple, I think it gives me a fuller picture. Kind of makes me understand these riders. Kind of building on, even with Jesus' parable, there's kind of like this simple understanding you could take. But I think he tells them in a way, because there's deep stuff there. There's really deep things that you can glean. And you're supposed to search the scriptures to find out. The more you study the Word, the more you study the prophets, you should be able to understand these visions and have a good grasp. Otherwise, you're just going to come up with some random stuff. So those are my little thoughts on vision number 1. I'll just try to work my way through these when I got some time in the car here.